Let's go. Here we are. Hump day on the REKAP Lunch Hour with Guff, Ryan McGuffey here in a crowded REKAP studio today. We got Cap and Katie in the house. So, it's a big day when the entire crew is here on hand. And speaking of big days, the Chicago Bears did it again. They did it again, and they made a trade for the second consecutive day. This time, way bigger. They traded a 2026 fourth-round pick to Kansas City for two-time All-Pro Guard Joe Thuney. All right, so I've heard kind of both sides of the ledger on this, like, oh, he's 32 years old, blah, blah, blah. He's missed 2 games in 9 years, folks. You're getting the Kansas City Chiefs 2024 team MVP. That is correct. The Kansas City Chiefs selected Joe Thuney as their 2024 Derek Thomas Award winner. That is a team MVP. That's a team that went to the Super Bowl. Swayze's already ready. He's jacked up. Yesterday, Swayze wasn't as happy about the trade. Today, he is. This is what I'm talking about. Eli, what's going on? Clyde saying step 2, Operation Protect Caleb Williams. You're damn right. Lip Ripper, Chef Pulls cooking up in free agency, giving us entrees in back-to-back days. This is not even free agency, Lip Ripper. This is the calm before the storm, man. Free agency is next week. I will say this. I do think this tells us a lot about what teams are, or what the Bears think of the free agent class, that maybe it's not as good as everyone's thinking. And we saw Albert Breer yesterday say the way that the cap space continues to increase, which I believe it's around 279 and a half, that the way it continues to increase, it's allowing teams to keep their own. So teams, as we know, can manipulate the number by restructuring deals and hiding money and guaranteeing money up front to manipulate the cap, to make room for themselves to have more money. The Bears are 4th in the NFL in cap space, and they're going to sign Joe Thuney to an extension. The Chiefs just got in a cap casualty situation. They're picking Trey Smith over Joe Thuney. They're just going younger. That's as simple as it gets. If you ask the Chiefs to a man, including all the way up to the front office, down to Andy Reid, I guarantee you every person would say, let's keep the guy. But this is about manipulating, trying to pay everyone. Travis Kelce's coming back. They got to pay everybody. And that worked out for the Bears. And it didn't even cost them a 2025 pick, a 4th-round pick in 2026. This is a deal to make your team better today. He instantly comes in and gives not only a plug and play, he gives yourself instant credibility in the room. Instant. They've added Joe Thuney and Jonah Jackson to the line in the last 2 days. And the comments are pouring in. Eli, now they have to go get Drew Dahlman. Yes. Could you imagine if so even Atlanta wants to keep Drew Dahlman. They are really in a cap cash. They've screwed themselves the last couple of years. They want to keep Drew Dahlman. 26 years old, Cap? 27, Drew Dahlman. He's young, and they're in a situation where they can't afford to keep him. He's one of the best centers in the league. Now if the Bears – prepared to lose him, they are prepared to lose him, and now the Bears can zero in on him. Obviously, they're going to have to fight off other teams. 26-year-old center. If you get a legit center, the 2 trades you made the last 2 days, in theory, you could say Braxton Jones is here, and so is Darnell Wright. In theory, with the signing of Drew Dahlman, you could say that you have an offensive line. Now, I think they still draft. Ben Johnson's talked about the bullpen, using the bullpen analogy to a good offensive line. And it's very clear that Ben Johnson has a lot to say, but it also shows you the power and the tandem and the communication and the workability between coach and GM. Eli says, don't stop there. Sean, I like Sean. He's our resident Adam Schefter here on the show. DK Metcalf once traded. Cap and I just were going back and forth a minute ago. Would you trade a 2nd-round pick for 1 year of DK Metcalf? No, absolutely not. And it makes no sense to trade for him and sign him, because you already have a number 1 in DJ Moore. And do not tell me he's not a number 1. I literally just did a stat comparison between DJ Moore and DK Metcalf. They're honestly, they check out. They're nearly the exact same guy. DJ has more catches. There's more explosiveness from DK. You're not paying both. And quite frankly, it's not a need. Swayze, proven winner, superior health. I'm in love with this move. Now go get Dahlman. Absolutely. I'm in love with it too. Even if he is on the backside of his career, he's still taking down all pros, MVPs. He's as durable as they get. Does this feel like we are taking a luxury player at 10? I hope not. I hope not, Lipper. I still think they take a stud. I know there's a lot of Ashton Genty talk out there. There's been a lot of Ashton Genty talk out there. I need to see more from free agency before we even start thinking about the idea of an Ashton Genty at 10. And I'm not all that convinced he's going to be there at 10. You're not trading up. No way. Shy Northside, do you think we're still going after the center from Atlanta? I do. Or the Bears will address that in the draft. No, I think they're going to try to get one of the top 3 centers in the game in free agency next week. And we're going to know quickly. That's what I love about NFL free agency. It rings king because of the way they do it. It's a sprint. It's fast and furious. The big names go immediately. It's not like baseball. Godfather's going to come in and piss all over this. Too bad Poles almost got Williams killed last year. Better late than never. Yeah. There's a little positivity at the back end. I like it. Kyle, definitely. Speaking of positive, Kyle, happy hump day to you. So excited to see these moves done before the draft. In the words of Stacey King, give me the hot sauce. Now, don't stop, Bears. Keep going. Bear down. My guy, Wayne. The Bears want to win now. I'm blown away at the steps we're taking to move forward and turn losses into wins. What a difference the coach makes, huh? Players will be tripping over themselves to come to Chicago. We are poised to win finally. We think. Your lips to God's ears, Wayne. I hope so. It's very clear we have a coach who knows what the hell he's doing, or certainly what the hell he wants, and that he can be empowered by the GM to say, that guy's available, call them. Call them. And if they're asking for something astronomical, fine, we move on. But when you have a chance to get Joe Thuney, when the second they knew that Trey Smith was getting 23.4 in a franchise deal, or they're going to have to rework or they're going to have to re-sign him to a massive 20 point whatever, AAV to reset the guard market. They know the cap casualty situation. They know the situations other teams are in. You make the phone call. Landon, back to DK Metcalf. No shot on DK for a second. Not with this particular team. Josh Gordon, a veteran from the Chiefs, was very respected in the locker room. He can be a culture changer we need in our locker room. No doubt. I think the culture's already changed, but this doubles down on it. Because now you're acquiring guys that fit that culture. I still think they get a left tackle, and that's okay. We need competition there, and I'm here for it. Me too, Swayze. Don't just hand over. Even Darnell Wright. Bring in backup or draft backup left tackles and right tackles and let them compete. What's up, Jimbo? Heck of a couple of O-line pickups. I'm one of the few on the poll side. Go get Carter in the draft now. I love it. Guff, tell Cap, let's go. I did. Cap, let's go. Christian Kirk, here he is. Sean Schefter over here. Christian Kirk and Tyler Lockett also released complimentary pieces. Those guys, do they fit? I don't think unless you're getting very friendly deals here, I'm talking like 2-year deals to bring in another option. I think Rome Odunze is taking a massive step this year. We're going to see what we get from Cole Kmet. If there's ever been a coach that's going to bring it out of him, it's going to be Ben Johnson. I would expect that the Bears sign a tight end of some sort in free agency as well. So we'll see. This is where I stand. Lip Ripper and I always see eye to eye. I don't know how this worked out, but we do. DJ Rome, Kmet, and give me Cooper Kupp. Oh, I will take Cooper Kupp all day. I don't know. Is there a team that's desperate enough to sign him to number 1 money? And if there is, it won't be here. Dan Blue, bear down. I love this. March 5th, by the way, and we're bearing down. I love it. Great trade by the Bears. Go get Dahlman, says Eric at center. Then you have a lot of options at 10. Agreed. You can go O-line, edge, D-tackle, but to me, Genty makes the most sense. But of those things, guys, it's not the biggest need. Now, if you told me they drafted Ashton Genty and they've done what they've already done before free agency, then they go out in free agency and add 2 more, then it might be a little different because at 39 and 41, you can draft some good linemen. It depends on which mock drafts you're reading, Northside. Mason Graham. I've seen him last till 10, past 10. I've seen him go in the top 5. I saw Ashton Genty in ESPN's mock draft yesterday have him going 6 to the Raiders. So they cut loose Gardner Minshew today, which tells you they're going to add a veteran. And maybe that's Sam Darnold. Maybe that's Aaron Rodgers. You heard Max Crosby yesterday on a podcast say that he thinks it'd be legendary if Aaron Rodgers joined the Las Vegas Raiders. He thinks he's got something to prove. Pablo, what's wrong with getting Thuney, Jackson, and maybe one more free agent O-lineman, but use the draft to get a bunch of young hogs to learn from these new vets? Nothing at all. I actually think that's the perfect plan, Pablo. I actually think, here's Kurt coming in with a Cubs question. I actually have a question for you. Why didn't the Cubs address getting a front of the rotation starter? And I really think they are thin in the infield. Well, once Nico Horner comes back, which will be on the regular opening day, he's not going to make the Japan trip.
Ask what his off-season grade is on the Cubs.
Yeah, Kurt, Cap wants to know your off-season grade on the Cubs. I think they had the 4th best off-season in baseball. Now, I don't think the podium is this tight. I think the Dodgers are number 1. I think the Mets are number 2. I think the Yankees are 3, and I think the Cubs are 4.
What does he say?
I'm asking, Kurt. We have a lot of other comments. Here we go. My guy Emiliano. Let's get Emiliano on here. The man paid to play. I have to jump down. Here we go. Mason Graham or Genty at 10. Get the blue chip player. Trade up a bit to Graham if you have to. Emiliano, trading up isn't as easy as like, yeah, we'll just trade. You're trading 39 and 41 to move up in the draft. That's what I'm telling you. To move up in the draft, when you're at the 10th spot, it's going to cost you 39 and or 41 or both, because the desperation of the draft and other teams behind you, that's what it does. That's the cost of doing business. That is a huge price to pay, in my opinion. Huge. Better have those aviators handy. Pablo, just for you, buddy. Get ready. Get ready. You've been suggesting it for 2 weeks. I got him sitting right here. Josh, still think we need a left guard, a left tackle for depth, or take Braxton's spot. Then, of course, center. You're talking about guard and tackle for depth because we just got guard today. Clyde, stop saying I ignore you. And yeah, I like when you say I ignore you. I've already put your Operation Protect Caleb Williams on at the start of this. Guff, considering Keenan leaving, should we try and get Tyler Lockett on a cheap 1-year deal? Again, if you're bringing in a guy like Tyler Lockett, who's possession-type receiver, smaller, veteran, it's definitely on my terms. 1-2 years that you can get out from under after 1 or something like that. How is PCA's hamstring? Bruce Levine scared the crap out of me, says Godfather. PCA played he's fine. PCA's fine. He's back to playing. He started yesterday. We're good to go. The real Phil Sims. Would you rather go after Kupp or Metcalf? Okay, so let's just play the scenario that I actually am picking one of the two. For this particular team, I'm probably signing Cooper Kupp. I probably am. DK Metcalf's explosiveness is attractive, but he's a 1. Cooper Kupp is a 2. Puka Nacua was a 1. I'd go Kupp. I know he's older. Metcalf needs to get paid. That's the problem. You're not going to trade what it needs to take to get DK Metcalf. Should we get a tight end 2, one that will actually be utilized in the offense? Can we get our tight end 1 utilized in the offense first? But yes, Josh, I expect the Bears to sign a tight end in free agency. I do. Wayne, the bad in all this is we have to wait for the season to start. I cannot wait. Here's the good. And Kurt, I don't know if you've responded to me yet because there's a billion comments coming in at a very rapid pace. And thanks, guys. I love it. Appreciate you. And, the question I have is I think the Cubs are going to be better than people think. I do. Cap is all in on that thought. Lip Ripper, I'm so pissed at myself. We had my guy Lip Ripper Cap, who's over there in the distance. He gives his plays out every day.
Yeah.
He played the BYU money line last night at plus 350. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. The way BYU's been playing, I can't believe they were plus 350 on the money line. Big hit. Unfortunately, Lip, I did not have it, but you know where I stood on my pick. I threw a little parlay together too. It was a good night in the recap household. King, big time Guff. Signing Joe is awesome. However, what was the point of signing Jonah if he plays the same position? He is injury prone. Make this make sense to the chat, Guff for mayor. Appreciate you, King. Jonah played 40 games in Detroit. Yes, at left guard. Clearly, the Bears wouldn't sign a player that, A, they know, at least Ben Johnson knows, if they don't think he's capable of moving over. Okay? Is he injury prone? Sure. We have to call him that because he has, I think, 11 different injuries in his career. He's missed a ton of games, whereas Thuney has missed 2 games. But while they did sacrifice a 6th-round pick, which I think was worth every second of that, the short-term excitement of acquiring a former Pro Bowler is worth the risk of moving a guy from the left side to the right side to me. It is. And Joe Thuney today becomes your left guard because, look, that's what he is. You're not taking an all-pro and moving him. Likely. Josh opened socials today. Most of the fan base, Genty. Here's why. People like sexy. Genty's sexier pick than any lineman. Period. He is a sexy pick. I'm not saying they aren't going that route. I'm not going to poo-poo that so my receipt can be saved and somebody can come over and be like, I told you. Pablo, I think Braxton Jones is gone or doesn't play at all now, and I don't feel bad. Kid tried and we gave him a shot. Most don't get that. We'll see. Maybe he's a motivated Braxton Jones. What if that happened? And by the way, we can't assume that all 5 of these guys are staying healthy. We've seen it. We know it. And that's why Ben Johnson says bullpen. James, I think I'm Genty, are you serious? I agree, man. Kirk might reunite with Cliff. Interesting. I didn't think about that. Sean Schefter over here. Do you think the Chiefs will go after Ronnie Stanley? I don't think the Chiefs have enough money to go after Ronnie Stanley. Unless they give him like a bunch of more, like the deal in what the defensive end that went from Minnesota to Houston last year. I'm blanking on his name, where they gave him all the money up front. I think Ronnie Stanley is likely to stay in Baltimore, where he's been his whole career. Guff, just listen to your crowd. We're stoked. This is fantastic. You should be stoked. Nobody should be poo-pooing this today. Not one person. I don't care about, well, he's 33 next year. And he is, okay? This is about the Bears getting better today. I don't care about 20. And it also tells you that they're trying to win today, okay? That Ben Johnson's going to come in here and he's thinking playoffs right away. And don't say it can't be done. We've seen the Houston Texans do it in a year by drafting C.J. Stroud and going right to the playoffs. We saw what happened in Washington last year, where they go from 4-13 to the NFC title game. Eli, funny you should ask. Eli throws out there, it's my favorite White Sox birthday today, Paul Konerko. Well, guess what I did before we came on here? Brian Anderson and I just taped a podcast with birthday boy Paul Konerko, and that drops on the channel later today. So there you go, Eli. Cue it up, my friend, both here on the channel and wherever you listen to podcasts. A birthday edition of a Paul Konerko White Sox recap podcast. Isn't that awesome? I think you'll love it. Swayze, with this move, we put ourselves in position to draft the best player available, and something tells me one or more players fall to us. I certainly believe that this puts the Bears in the best position because now they're not sitting there. There's no desperation mode that they have to be in now. They've already taken care of 2 of their linemen. If they sign Drew Dahlman, then you're talking about really in a great spot because let's say there's 5 players the Bears all like at 10 and that they have them ranked virtually the same and somebody calls them that's at 13 and says, we want to move up, or somebody at 11 wants to move up, you're more inclined to make that deal and add to your draft capital. Emiliano says the White Sox won the offseason. Athletic had the Cubs offseason grade as an A- from Jacob. To answer Cap's question, we're finally down to Kurt. Kurt gives the Cubs a B-, Cap.
Jim Bowden just put out his rankings.
A- for Cubs.
A-.
Yep. I don't know where that. I don't know.
Max Crosby, big news.
Max Crosby, what?
Going to be one of the highest paid players in NFL history.
Max Crosby getting a big deal
The Raiders.
with the Raiders. So they're going to make him happy. I bet Aaron Rodgers ends up there. Phil asks if Tommy Pennies is still going after Dylan Cease. Don't be scared. This has nothing to do with Tom being cheap. You got to have two to tango here, guys. Dylan Cease is not going anywhere. The Padres put that nail in the coffin. Now, if the Padres were to go out and fall on their face early in the year and they become sellers at the deadline, then yeah, I think you make the move to go get. I would have loved to see the Cubs get Dylan Cease. I absolutely think that would have just put the Cubs over the top. James, if Poles drafts Genty with 10, he must be fired on the spot. Wow. I mean, that's a little dramatic. Let's see how the next 10 plus days plays out first, James. They've already done two things this week that nobody expected. Okay. They took care of two positions in 2 days. Let's wait before we're firing people here. Go up to 7. If he's there, it won't cost. You think it's Emiliano? You think going from 10 to 7 is costing you a 3rd round pick? No shot.
Way more.
No chance that happens. Maybe a 3rd. I'm telling you, it will absolutely cost you 39. 100%.
Guaranteed.
And it might cost you 39 and the 3rd. Or 39 and 41, depending on. I'm telling you right now, there's no chance you're moving up 3 spots in the 1st round without giving up a 2nd round pick. Chef, I hope you made some money again last night, my man. Guff for president. That Easy Street pizza is starting to taste a lot better. I know you're cooking one up for me. Tell Cap Ricketts just wants to break even. Under the luxury tax is where we stay. From the Godfather. Godfather's exhausted. He's been a fan his whole life. He just wants some winner. He wants an owner that's all in. I get it. Kurt says it would have been an A, Cap, if they finished with a starter and protection for Shaw. Well, let's see where, you know what? Let's have this discussion in 2 months. Let's see where they're at. Pablo, my guy, everyone's looking ready with everyone to win some money. Wait, looking ready to win everybody some money. Yes, I am. You're talking about Aviator Guff. Move up 7 for who? Asked Jeff. Clyde's also on the B- train. Lightbringer. I don't know. Is maybe a new fan of the show. Birds fan here. Oh boy. Eagles fan. Glad to see Caleb getting some protection. I think he could be very good if they keep him upright and develop him properly. These moves seem solid. Dallas should take notes from Chicago. Mr. Duds, move your 2nd round pick to trade up and get Will Campbell. Do it. If Carter falls, that would be a godsend. Grab him. Caleb Johnson and some damn perimeter speed. Jermaine. Bears need a burner who scares the living hell out of coaches and defense. Speedster. Lightbringer. DK has requested a trade. I don't think, guys, DK is going to cost you some money. You know, I don't think he costs a 2nd now that I think about it. Debo Samuel just went for a 5th. But they're not going to just want to get rid of him for nothing. And he's going to cost a lot in draft capital. He's going to want to go to a place that's giving him an immediate extension. -1. You guys love mediocre players. Bears fans are a joke. Okay, minus. Well, I'll just say this. Are you talking about Joe Thuney, the mediocre team MVP of the Kansas City Chiefs that just
First team All-Pro the last 2 years, you maniac.
Cap's fired up. Cy, this is us right now, excited, happy that the Bears are trending up, but we then still have to keep in our minds how we need to see this on the football field. No doubt about it. Kurt says, I think the grade becomes an A- if Tucker gets an extension. I don't think you could judge. That's next offseason. Come on now. Guff, a lot of big college basketball games this weekend, betting on Duke, North Carolina. We got to get there first, Phil. First of all, right now, Duke is such a cash cow that you have to bet on them and just lay the points and hope it hits. They're crushing teams by 32 on average the last 2 weeks. You just sit back and relax and strap it down and see what happens. Shy needs a rumor that new ownership of the Hornets might want to get rid of Melo And Melo might want to play with his brother. Do you see that as realistic for the Bulls? The Bulls are trying to get younger. Melo's going to want a big deal. I like the idea of acquiring a superstar type player, but at what cost? I don't think the Bulls are there right now. They haven't even bottomed out yet. We are not getting to all these comments today. I appreciate all of them for sure. James, Max Crosby, Sean Schefter, we just announced that he got a big extension and become one of the highest paid players in the league. I'm ready for the sock, says Jimbo. Let's go check out the podcast with Paul Konerko. That'll drop later this afternoon on the channel. My goodness, guys. Oh, King, you want to remind everybody that this Sunday, daylight saving time. Let's spring ahead. No doubt. Let's get going. So, by the way, it's that time. Get your money out. Go to your app. Folks, we've been cashing at such a ridiculous rate. I don't even want to. I try not to get superstitious, but I'm not. At this point, we just got to keep playing the game. Here we go. I'm ready for you, Pablo. Once we come out of the animation, we will go to today's bet of the day. And there you go. We're wearing the shades. The Aviators, when we cash bets here, we're going Aviators. It's the bet of the day. And I thought there's a couple of games here, guys, I really like. Probably put a parlay together with Cap later today. I'm laying, Cap is already barking up. I like Clemson a lot tonight. I know it's 14.5 on the road. Boston College sucks. Clemson is they've already broken a record for most wins in a season. They're trending upwards. They're playing for a high seed in the tournament. 14.5. It's juicy. They beat them by, I think, 20-something points earlier in the year. I'll beat at Clemson. I might buy that down a little bit and throw it in a parlay. We're laying the 6.5 with Wisconsin today. And let me give you a little background on Wisconsin, who is one of the best teams. First of all, they are sitting 5th right now in the Big Ten. They're 12-6. Maryland's 12-6. They play at Michigan tonight. Big game. Purdue's 13-6. And UCLA is right by. They are playing for a high seed in a first round or the double bye in the Big Ten tournament. So they have a lot to play for. It's a rivalry game. It's at Wisconsin, or it's at Minnesota. They played earlier this year. Wisconsin won by 21. Again, that was in Madison. They are laying 6.5 tonight. I'm taking it. Wisconsin has lost 2 of their last 3. Tough game against Oregon where they blew it in overtime. They crapped the bed and lost bad. Blew out Washington, and then Sparty took care of business on Sunday. This is kind of a must-win spot. It's a get-right game. Those of you who've been following, you know how I love the get-right games. This is a get-right game for Wisconsin. I'm laying the 6.5. By the way, look at that record, folks. We fought long and damn hard to get here. We are over 500 since we started. We came out of the gate 2-7-1 in our first 10. We are over 500 now. And what we've been doing the last 2 weeks, gosh, I hope for those of you who've been betting, I hope that you've been laying it. Now, Lip Ripper likes to give his picks. Maryland's a very popular sharp pick. Tennessee minus 2.5. I don't know if I can ever bet Notre Dame. We are going against each other. Minnesota money line. Lip Ripper and I for the first time. Lip Ripper, you're going to have to go against me, dude. You're going to have to go against me. I'm trying to OD. Wisconsin team total over 73.5. They averaged 78.4 on the road and hung 80 on minute. OD, I like the back. I like the stats, man. I like the stats. Lip Ripper is given golf plays. He always does the sleepers. Fleetwood at 22.5 to 1. Trying to get back down here. Lip Ripper might need the shades for all the tournaments. Hey, you and I you're probably going to flirt with that money line of Minnesota. We're against each other. Bet of the day, all day, every day with our guy Guff. Pablo, appreciate you. For everybody who's been making some money. Look, the balloon's going to burst at some point. That's part of the fun of doing this. But in the meantime, take the rake. Let that craps table pay you every damn day that we keep doing this. You're going to hedge your Minnesota money line bet with the recap bet of the day. Lip Ripper, that's why I love you. I go back at the end of each of these shows and write down your picks. Now, you have to kick me in the butt sometimes because I don't look at them. I don't bet them all, but I bet some. That's okay. I appreciate you guys. How about those Bears? 2 days in a row. breaking news, so we can give it to you here on the recap. There's a Bears recap out on the channel. Cap goes through this trade. Check that out. Like I said, the White Sox recap podcast with Brian Anderson, myself, and Paul Konerko will drop later this afternoon. We'll have a recap rush hour for you as well. The Bulls are off. That'll put a bow on this edition of the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff, me, Ryan McGuffey. Appreciate you guys. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Be kind. That's all we ask. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.